of our clients out. Oh, okay. We try to keep all of our clients out of skilled nursing as much as we can, but for those that need really intensive high acuity care, this is the place for them. So we'll go to the next slide, which I think is just kind of the thank you section here. Oh, I forgot the questions to ask. So these are some example questions to ask when you're interviewing or looking for services. These are just a few. I tried to boil it down to the most important. Asking them if their services are bonded, insured, and licensed, which you can check at any time on the Agency for Healthcare Administration, whether they have an active license or not. This is really important for a lot of reasons, but we find that sometimes the friend from church, may not have all the coverage that you need. What type of charges does it cost? Do they accept Medicaid? Do they accept VA? Do they accept all these different ways to pay? Or are they just going to ask you for a check every week? So know what you're paying, know how much it's going to cost, and when those costs are going to change too, so you can plan ahead. Ever since COVID, a big one is availability of staff. We try to provide great continuity of care, and that's what you want. Your loved one needs the same face every day as much as possible. So ask them what their turnover is like and what, if they're going to have the same face or not, what that continuity experience is going to do for you. And then also, this is a big one for us. Are they just a home care company, or are they just an adult daycare? Are they just an assisted living? Where does the line stop, and really how much do they care about the people that they're responsible for? We try to, the motto at SilverLink is to always go above and beyond. We go the extra mile. We do all these things that we honestly don't make any money off of, but it is all with the intent to take care of families better, to make sure that you know that you have a financial plan that is set up, that it's going to work with your budget, that when things change, when that, Parkinson's or that disease issue increases and the level of care increases, that you can still stay there for the rest of your life and get the care that you need. So ask them how they manage that. Do they help with VA? Do they file long-term care insurance every month for you on your behalf? Do they help you with all those little things that a lot of companies just don't have the time to do anymore? So those are all big questions to ask. Just some examples. And if you've asked this and maybe not found the right fit, or you've gotten the wrong answer before, give us a call and we'll help you figure out, maybe a service provider who might do a better job. So we'll go to the next slide, which is the wrapping up and the thank you. There you go. So I just want to say thank you, for your patience today, for sure, with the technical difficulties, and just having me come out and just be a good resource for the community. And we'll take some questions a little bit later on. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mike. Always a wealth of information. For Mike, if you have questions, we're going to have a section with a Q&A at the end, so stay tuned for that. I want to next introduce, if we could, our next slide, please. Have her on the phone. Kimberley Schafer. She is the owner of Right at Home of Greater Jacksonville. And I'm going to see if this works. With fingers crossed, I'm going to put her up to the. So can you say hello?
Good morning. How am I coming through?
Perfect. Yay, we did it. Yes, we can hear you.
All right, I can hear myself. Right?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Okay, next slide, Jess. Thank you.
All right. So I'd love to give an introduction. So actually, if we could go back for a moment.
Okay.
My name is Kim Schafer. I'm the owner of a company called Right at Home, and I'm one of the home care companies in this market. Michael did a great job of explaining what are some of the different options out there in that continuum of care, and we focus on home care. So Rachel thought it might be a good idea for me to spend some time talking to you about what home care is. Now, Michael did a great job telling you a little bit about it. We're going to dive a little more deeply. And let's start at the beginning. So if we could, what is home care? It's non-medical care of people in their homes by a professional care. Some titles you might hear of a caregiver would be caregiver, certified nursing assistant, aid, personal care assistant, or companion. Those are all roles that are in this professional caregiving space. And what home care is not, for the purposes of today's discussion, it is not coming in to fix the furnace, for the hot water heater, or to lay your flooring in the home, or to maybe get up on a ladder and do some pressure washing. That's not what we mean by home care. We need care of the individual in their home, wherever they call home. So before I get into more on this slide, let me pause, just see. Rachel, am I still coming through okay? Is everything all right?
Yes. Perfectly.
All right, fantastic. So specifically, when a professional caregiver comes into the home to provide home care to an adult, what kinds of things might they do? That's what's on this slide. First of all, companionship and monitoring for safety. Mike talked a lot about fall prevention and all the great reasons to have a helping home and in the home to keep you safe or to keep your loved ones safe. Companionship and safety. Professional caregivers can also provide homemaker services. Yes, they can do light housekeeping, but they can do other things that go above and beyond, say, what a cleaning service might be able to do. They can do laundry. They can help with meals. They can make sure those meals follow a particular diet that's prescribed to the loved one.
Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I see that you're still on mute. Can you unmute your, we can hear you in the room, but I'm worried about the people online not being able to hear you.
Echo problem if I do that.
Well,
Let's try.
I'm not controlling the,
All right, I've come off mute.
okay.
How am I coming through? Is there an echo?
No, sounds good.
All right, fantastic. Let's keep
Thank you so
rolling.
much.
I was trying to prevent that echo. I'm glad it's not an issue.
When I saw your mic muted. Okay.
Yes, all right. So we've talked about what professional caregivers are in terms of their title, and we've started to talk about what kinds of things they do. We talked about companionship and monitoring for safety. We were just getting into homemaker services, help around the home, keeping it tidy. Mike talked about, you know, when the household chores get kind of out of reach or out of hand for that particular person in need, or it falls to that family caregiver. And I know all family caregivers in this room have enough housework to do. Am I right? So homemaker services can be incredibly valuable, not just for the person in need, but for their family who would otherwise be picking up those duties. And those chores can include meals and laundry, both of which are physically hard for many clients to do and are demanding. There's several times a day that meal prep is needed. There is a regular cadence that has to happen with laundry. So all of those services can be incredibly valuable and incredibly time consuming for those family caregivers otherwise. Hygiene help with bathing, toileting, feeding, dressing, help with keeping someone clean is the first step in keeping them well. Our professional caregivers can take care of that, and they take some of maybe the sensitivity or the emotion or that vulnerability associated with doing that, perhaps between family caregivers and that loved one. Mobility help. Getting someone up, down, and around is fundamental, and doing it safely with skill is very important, and professional caregivers are great at that. And home care can also involve getting outside the home with other services such as transportation. Transportation services for someone in need can save a family caregiver incredible amounts of time. We know how it is to get around Jacksonville. We know how it is to wait in a medical office. We know how it is to wait in line for shopping or at a pharmacy. It's an incredible time commitment, and we can make it that much faster and easier for both the client and the family member. So that's a little bit about the kinds of services, the kinds of things that define what is home care. If we could go to the next slide, please. I was asked to talk about the benefits of home care, and I thought the best way to do that, frankly, would be with a few stories, a few examples. Now, these are real examples from my company, but they really are fundamental to what home care does and what benefits it delivers in general. So I thought it would be helpful to start by talking about the right care for, we'll call him Fred. For Fred, his daughter was incredibly stressed and busy in the morning to get herself to her job. And yet it was Fred who also needed help every morning. So she enlisted Right at Home in this case, but really any care company could do daily morning visits. And in this situation, those daily short visits made all the difference because Fred is a diabetic. So he needs certain medications in the morning, he needs blood sugar readings in the morning, and he needs a healthy, low sugar, high protein breakfast in the morning. Those are three things Fred does not like to do, and he is not going to do them without reminders and help. But with the right kind of home care, these things happen every morning, and right there, Fred is off to a great start, having a healthy, excellent day. We also found that Fred tended to be wobbly in the morning before he got that sustenance and that great breakfast. So fall prevention was an important part of our care as well. And it made just a little bit of care daily, made all the difference, not just to Fred, but to his worried daughter. Here's what his worried daughter had to say. I have peace of mind. I can finally take trips with my husband and know my dad is not alone. His caregivers are like family and take such good care of him. So that's one example of how a little bit of home care can make a big difference. If we go to the next slide, please. Let's talk about Teresa. We'll call her Teresa. Teresa and her family came to us because Teresa had a fall and a broken leg. And she needed some assistance that she had never needed before. And for those busy working family caregivers, it was a big stressor. She didn't just need it in the morning, she needed it multiple times a day. And with a little bit of help from home care, she went from illness to wellness very quickly. During the time when she was most vulnerable and focused on her recovery, we provided dressing assistance, transportation to the outpatient PT appointments that she needed to get stronger and to fully recover. We helped around the home with light housekeeping. And of course, she was wheelchair bound for the first time in her life. So we helped her with transfers up, down, and around. She is not a client anymore for the best possible reason. She recovered fully and she's doing great. Here's what she had to say. The caregivers were wonderful. When I got out of the hospital, I needed someone to help. Now I feel great. If I need help in the future, I'll be sure to call. And in all this, we worked directly with Teresa. We didn't have to do much with the family. So not only did the family not have to provide the care, we just really took the whole burden of the process out of the hands of those family caregivers. So if you go to the next slide. Let's talk about what it takes to make home care happen. Michael did a great job talking a little bit about costs and how home care can work. But maybe you have some more questions about, gosh, how do I make this happen financially? What are some of the different options and alternatives and ways of thinking about making home care happen? Well, in most cases, home care is a private pay service because home care is non-medical. So those medical insurances you may be used to when you go to, say, a doctor's office or the hospital, they don't pay for non-medical care. So think of it primarily as a private pay service. Much like other non-medical wellness services you might have used in your life, or maybe even you enjoy regularly. If you've ever had a professional massage or a salon appointment or an exercise class, things that you pay for out of pocket, that's kind of like how home care tends to work. But that doesn't mean that you can't find some forms of help for paying for care or some important ways of funding care. Something important to know is that home care is time-based care. It's based on the amount of time typically the caregiver spends with the loved one. And usually you're going to see hourly rates, day rates, sometimes flat visit rates, like a bath visit. You're going to see those kinds of rates. And it's important to know as you consider your providers, how it works for that particular company. It does vary from company to company, and it's important to know what those rates are and to understand them and be comfortable with them. But usually you're going to find it's time-based care. Some ways to handle that beyond just writing that check could be long-term care insurance. Long-term care insurance reimburses clients for the home care they receive. Policies are different, but typically most long-term care insurance policies have some form of home care benefit. So look at those policies, see if your loved one has one, and take full advantage of what they've already invested in. There's also something popular out there that's becoming more and more prevalent, hybrid life insurance products. I happen to have this product for myself. And what it means is I have purchased life insurance, but in the future, if and when I need home care, I can use that life insurance benefit. I pay home care, but whatever's left over at the end goes on to my loved ones. Hybrid life insurance products. There's also veterans benefit programs. I think Mike mentioned the VA. We're a VA provider. There are many out there, and there are a number of different veterans benefit programs that can pay for services for someone who has served and met certain qualifications, and also sometimes for their spouses. So please get to know your veterans benefit programs if you are a veteran. There's also employer benefit programs, including for some of the larger employers here in the Jacksonville area. They may subsidize home care so that their employees can continue working instead of serving as a primary caregiver or having to take a leave of absence or something like that. So please, I encourage you to think about these options, think about whether they might apply to you and your family, and engage providers like SilverLink or Right at Home or some of the others you will learn about today to see if they can help guide you through some of these options. We're here to help. And with that, I'd like to go to I believe it's my last slide. If we could go on to the next one. I would like to conclude by talking a little bit about the benefit of planning ahead. So many of our families call us when they're at their wits' end. And if you're a family caregiver who has attended this event, you know that you need to keep that cup full, as we've talked about today. And planning ahead just a little bit can provide a whole bunch of peace of mind later. So I'd like to leave you with this specific story. We had a client who went from, we'll call him Ken. He went from a little care to a whole lot of care. And the whole time Right at Home was there. He started with us driving to errands, very short shifts. He said he didn't need a lot of help, and he had been relying on his sons to take him here, there, and everywhere. And they said to me, we want to spend time with Dad, but we just want to be doing something other than grocery shopping and pharmacy visits. They wanted quality time with their dad, not taking him here, there, and everywhere. So once or twice a week, we would come in and do that. And that's all we did. But after about 6 to 8 months of service, he had a fall and he landed in the ER. And we were already lined up and we were already there to help. And we turned on continuous care that very night of his discharge. He was a 24/7 client for several weeks. And it was a very smooth transition because he already knew and loved Right at Home. He already knew and loved the caregivers, and we were already ready to go. So I really encourage family caregivers to find the resources, even the ones you might not need right away. Get to know them, line them up, be registered, be ready, so that a scenario like this can happen quickly and easily. Because if there's one thing I've learned in my 6 years of owning a home care company, the unexpected will eventually occur. And here's what the family caregiver said about Right at Home. My dad was very complimentary of the caregivers. My friend recommended you, and I am so thankful that he did. So if we'll go to the very last slide. I would just like to thank everyone for giving me a few moments to talk with you about home care and how powerful it can be. Whether you use it a little or a lot, it can be a great asset. We're Right at Home of Greater Jacksonville, and I'll turn it back over to Rachel unless there are any questions.
Thank you, Kim. We are going to have questions at the end. So if you have them in the audience, if you're listening online and you have them for Kim, there will be an opportunity for you to submit those questions that are during our Q&A portion. So Jessica, if you could kindly, there you go. Our next presenters, Kari Bell and Erica Hickey from River Garden Senior Services are going to be talking about caregiver resources and support and their adult day program at River Garden. So Kari is giving me a call now. I think I see her dialing. I feel like a talk show host. Phone a friend. There she is. I hope this is Kari, because whoever it is. Oh, it is her. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
We're good to go.
Okay. So yes, I'm Kari Bell. I am the Communications and Marketing Director at River Garden, and I'm here with Erica Hickey. She is our Adult Day Manager, and I wanted to be sure to introduce her. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I'm going to give you a little background about River Garden. If you don't know River Garden already, then you're missing out on a hidden gem in Jacksonville. We are the #1 skilled nursing facility in the state of Florida. And we offer more than just the Hebrew home. We actually have, underneath the umbrella of our Hebrew home, we have our long-term nursing that many people are familiar with. We have a short stay skilled program for rehabilitation. We have outpatient therapy, like you would imagine a facility like a Brooks to offer. But we also offer this adult day program, and a lot of people are, again, not familiar with it. So this helps build awareness when we have an opportunity to speak to groups like this. Our home health care program, just to level set, unlike what Kim and Mike offer, our home health care program is only available to the people who live on our campus in our independent apartments. So it's not available to the community at large. Okay, next slide, please. River Garden has been in Jacksonville for over 75 years, and they started in the Riverside area, strongly mission-driven organization, and just serving elders, serving older adults, helping with education. And as we've grown, we've become a little bit more robust with our service offering. And so that will lead us into telling you a little more about Adult Day. Next slide, please. In the early 90s, one too many. Back the other way. There you go. Okay. In the early 90s, we moved to the Mandarin campus. The Mandarin campus is actually not visible from the road, but it is off the intersection of Old St. Augustine Road and I-295. So there's like a Walgreens store there and a Lowe's hardware store that many people are familiar with, and we use those as landmarks, or just barely north of the St. Joseph's Catholic Church. But the campus is beautiful. You're welcome to come and visit anytime. Next slide, please. So specifically about back there. Oh, there we go. Stop there for a second. Give me a chance. Specifically about our adult day program. We started this back in about 2010. We wanted to just clarify for folks the difference between adult day and a senior center. Both of them are great options depending on your loved one, depending on what you're looking for. It gives you somewhat of a daily routine, someplace to get up and go. And maybe as far as respite goes, maybe you can take your loved one to a senior center and they can enjoy the day with other seniors. Different adult day actually has real caregivers, real CNAs there. So there's a lot of personal support that can be offered in an adult day program that you may not find at a senior center, because a senior center you would have an expectation that the people there could take care of their own needs, recognize their, own abilities, and participate. We stimulate that in an adult day program. There's a lot of social interaction. There's a lot of group directed games. There's a lot of physical activity. And we do offer additional services for bathing or rehab or beauty shop appointments, because we have those services available in the home. We also can prompt for medication. When someone lives in our independent apartment community on our campus, they could bring their loved one here for half the price, just because it's almost like an added benefit. But we have the majority of our clients actually come from off campus, and they are bringing someone here before they go to work, dropping them off and picking them up at 5 p.m. So next slide, please. Okay, so the nuts and bolts of the adult day program are that we operate Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5. Folks that come, they actually sign up for scheduled days. The minimum is 2 days a week. So an example might be that you bring your loved one on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The rates it's a daily rate, and it depends on the frequency. So if you bring someone all 5 days a week, you're at the lower end of the pay spectrum. We do accept referrals through ElderSource, and they use a grant, I think, that goes through Aging True. Mm-hmm. Baptist Age Well also sends us referrals, as do the other neurology doctors, because most of the people who come to us have some kind of a cognitive impairment. And that's what makes them really a good fit for a good client for our program. We also invite the caregiver and the client to come for an interview, so to speak, an initial meeting, introductory meeting. Erica actually hosts those meetings. And then we can, if someone likes what they see, we can start them off on a 2-week trial period. Next slide. All kinds of things that go on include, we do serve 3 meals a day. We do cooking demonstrations. We do table games and puzzles. They do physical fitness. I know I was in there the other day and they were doing some kind of a Congo line exercise. It was fun. Music and movement, excuse me. So it's really a good time. Next slide. So when we talk about the respite piece of this, and we think about it as a benefit for caregivers, what this really is time for you. we have a quote here that I'll share. I hear wonderful stories about how the Adult Day program provides needed relief for family caregivers. That's what Erica experiences all the time. There is a video we aren't, I don't think, going to be able to play it, but if you search for River Garden Hebrew Home, you'll see this video there. And this is an actual couple. The wife drops her husband off for care multiple days each week, and then it gives her an opportunity to go to lunch with her friends, to rejuvenate her own spirit, to do her chores, to take care of her own doctor appointments, knowing that he's here totally well cared for, and she picks him up at the end of the day. But this like I said, you can see it online on the YouTube site. So next slide, please. We also, kind of as a measure of caretaking for the caregivers themselves, we offer an Alzheimer's Association support group that's open to the public. We have it in person here at River Garden, and it is led by Dr. Sue Kroll. She is she's got a lot of specialties with dementia training and Alzheimer's training. She hosts it on the second Wednesdays of every month. So that is not tomorrow, not today, but next Wednesday. It's at 3:30 p.m. And we would invite you to come. You don't have to make any reservations or anything like that. You can also find that on our Facebook page. We have that event posted. You can find it through the Alzheimer's Association. But that type of support is really an opportunity for you to hear of other people's stories and what they're doing to succeed in their journey. Next slide. If you don't have to choose the River Garden Adult Day program. What I'm trying to show you here is that you can go to the Florida website called ACA. And on ACA, you can find a facility. Also, you can just Google the words Adult Day program, and you can find a facility, and then you can back your way into checking. You want to make sure and go to, there are a handful here in Jacksonville. You want to make sure and go to one that you think offers the best care for your loved one. You know, some people do find that the home care in the home works for them. Some people want a moment of respite in their own home while their loved one that maybe is suffering with cognitive impairment isn't there. So they can go home and take care of things around their home the way they want to. So it really just depends on what best meets your needs. But thank you for giving us the opportunity to share this with you, and we'll be available to answer questions, Erica, too, later. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Kari. Thank you very much. So for those both online and here in person, I will be posting this recording so you don't have to worry about taking furious notes. You'll have this through our website, through email, on the Caregiver Coalition website. So this will be available for everybody. So next, I would like to introduce Abigail Costley, who's going to be calling me in a moment. I can see her dialing as we speak. She is with ElderSource. She is our care connector. And she's going to be talking about the caregiver programs that ElderSource offers. So thank you, Abigail.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So like Rachel said, my name's Abigail Costley. I'm a care connector, and what I mostly work with is I do caregiver support programs that I'll be talking about a little bit today. And just a little background on me. My background is social work, so that kind of gives you a little bit of idea of my, just background knowledge and where I come from. So you can go ahead to the next slide. So the first support I want to talk about is my virtual caregiver support group. This support group I actually do today on Wednesdays every week at 1 p.m. and it is online. And we also do a session on Thursdays every week at 6 p.m. And this is so if you work during the day or sometimes during the day, it's just too busy, you can join it a night time as well, whatever works easy for you. So what this support group is, we like to make it more relaxed, but we also share information. We also have people ask questions about, I'm really struggling with my mom. She's doing this, but I don't know what to do. We have other caregivers there that can give you advice, or even I can give you advice. And we also do have times where we do share personal feelings and stories, but we also just make it a place where we can connect face to face with other caregivers and they understand more what you're going through. Because I'm sure, as you know, as a caregiver, sometimes you feel like you're in this alone, you don't have anyone else that understands what you're going through, but having these other caregivers online with you that can, at least head nod to what you're saying and can back you up, be like, I understand, or yeah, I agree with you. It just gives you that sense of relief, is like, okay, I'm not in this alone. And that's what this support group does. And it is virtual. So it makes it a little easier if you can't, leave who you're caring for. You can't leave them alone. So that's how we make it virtual. It's a lot easier. And it is every week, like I said, Wednesdays and Thursdays. And we go to the next one. And this next program is called T-Care. It's our tailored caregiver assessment and referral system. It's a long word, but we just call it T-Care. And what T-Care is, it's our caregiver burnout prevention program. And I'm sure you all may experience some symptoms of this at times as a caregiver, but caregiver burnout, it's a physical, emotional, and a mental state of exhaustion. And this is often caused by long-term stress, and that can also affect your well-being. But this stress may come from, caring for yourself, caring for your loved one, you have a job, you're taking care of a home. A lot of things can result into caregiver burnout. And what this program does is we try to reduce this stress and come up with strategies to prevent this caregiver burnout. Now, the way we do this is it's usually with me as the T-Care specialist. We create a care plan, and this care plan usually consists of a few things, of whether it be referrals, whether it be just provide you with information, links to videos, just whatever it is that's causing you stress specifically. We try to aim at that and help you reduce that stress to make it easier for you as a caregiver. And I also try to say this too as well in this program. I try to act as your person you can turn to when you have no idea what to do in your caregiving journey. You call me, email me, let me know, I don't know what to do, and I can at least point you in the right direction, because it's a lot going on when you're caring for someone else in yourself. So that's pretty much as a basis what T-Care does. So we can go on to the next one. And then next we have an elder source. We have the Powerful Tools for Caregivers class. So this Powerful Tools for Caregivers class, this is designed to kind of help caregivers understand how to take care of themselves. And these are free classes. You can also receive a free book that comes with it as well. And these classes include topics such as self-care, identifying and reducing stress, communication about feelings, needs, and concerns, which we often find can be difficult for caregivers, because we often don't put yourself first. Instead, you put who you're caring for first. And then we also talk about communicating in challenging situations. If your person you're caring for is being resilient or resistant, or if you're having issues with, maybe it be in the medical field, if you don't know how to have a hard conversation with a doctor, we can also help you with that as well in this class. And we also, another topic is just learning from these emotions and then mastering caregiver decisions, whether that be when is the right time to get power of attorney, when is it okay to take their car keys away? Just those simple things that may be big things to the person you're caring for that kind of is a hard decision for them to make. And these 6 classes are held once a week. And they're led by either myself or someone else in Elder Source. And we encourage you to attend these 6-week courses, and they are virtual. And once again, they are free. And once we come up with more classes, we do send out email blasts. So you'll see them in an email as well. So we can go on to the next one. So the eligibility for these programs I just spoke about is you can be any person just caring for someone that's 60 or older. You can be at any age. I have worked with people as young as 35 and go up to 85. It doesn't matter how old you are, as long as you're caring for an older adult. It could be your grandmother, your friend, your brother, sister, mother, father, whoever it is. As long as you're caring for someone older than 60, we can definitely put you in one of these programs. You can attend the support group. We also, if you want to have more information about any of these groups, you can contact me at my phone number here if you want to write it down, or you can also send me an email if you'd like to request, the link to my support group, anything like that. Just let me know and I can definitely send it out to you. We can go to the next one. So then I just want to touch about the Caregiver Coalition just a little bit, since we are here in a meeting today. So this Caregiver Coalition through Elder Source, we work to provide just more information and resources to caregivers in the Northeast Florida area. And now, like we're doing now, we're doing a virtual and in-person workshops. We have those quarterly newsletters you may see in your email. We also have our website if you go to caregivercoalition.org. And then you can also see some social media posts as well that you can see on YouTube. And we have a Facebook page that is updated quite often, I've noticed. And if you are not a member and you're just sitting in and if you want to join, you can contact Rachel, who you see on the screen over there. And her email is down below. And you can contact and join the Caregiver Coalition that way. And you can definitely attend more meetings and workshops in the future and get more information about any upcoming caregiver programs or any events, activities, things like that. Going to the next one. And now we'll go to Q&A. Thank you.
So Abigail, I'm gonna have you stay on the phone, because what I'm gonna do for the Q&A portion is ask Andrea to call one of our speakers and Mike to call another. So Andrea, could you give Kim Schafer a call? And Mike, if you could give Kari Bell a call. That way we can just put your phones up to the microphone when they're answering. And I'll do the same for Abigail. So what I'll do is I'll go back and forth between some questions we have from our live audience and questions that are submitted through our Q&A for those viewing online. So let me start by those in our live audience. Who has a question for one of our speakers? Anybody? Yep. Nobody? So far, no live questions. Do you have anything submitted through the Q&A? Are you able to see it? There are no questions? Oh, no questions. Wow, this is going to be short. We've got no questions. I guess either everybody is just wanting to get to the rest of their day to the vendor tables. If you do have questions, you can always email me. You'll get an email from me. You can just respond with a question that you thought of later. Once you see this posted, if you have questions about something that you've read, again, reach out to me at, well, there was a slide earlier. Let me see if you can back it up, Jess, just a little bit. Mike. There you go. At the very bottom in green, rachel.weinstein@myeldersource.org. If you think of a question, you develop one later, just email me and if I don't know the answer, I'll reach out to one of our speakers and I'll get the answer. Okay, great question, Andrea. Do any of our speakers have anything else to add? So Kari is asking something.
Okay.
Mhm.
We have an addition from Kari.
Ah, you have an addition.
You want to hold that up there?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Kari. Yeah, you're on.
Oh, no, she's muted to the audience.
Oh.
You're muted to the audience.
Okay. Close that. Okay, I just wanted to let people know that I had sent some brochures there with Andrea from River Garden. Sorry, we couldn't be there in person, but feel free to get those materials and give us a call if you need anything.
We'll put them on the Elder Source vendor table. Thank you for that,
Thank you.
Kari. Abigail or Kim, anything to add? If so, just unmute yourself for those who are online. I missed that. What is that? What did that say? 1 second here.
There's your chat. There you go.
Would it be?
People in the room to introduce themselves and talk about the do the caregiver stories.
Okay, so does anyone from the audience? Oh, is there a question there? We have one. Mhm.
Are there any programs that source anyone that is caring for someone that's under 60 years old?
Yes, the question is, are there any programs that Elder Source offers for caregivers who are caring for someone who's under 60 years old? Yes, we also serve adults 18 and older living with disabilities. So, yes. So let me pull in Andrea for this question. Andrea, the question from the gentleman in the audience is whether or not any of Elder Source's caregiver programs serve those under 60. And I did talk about those. We serve those who are 18 and older living with disabilities. And he's asking about what specific programs do we have for them. So
All the waiver programs, basically.
Well, hi, everybody. I'm Andrea Spencer. So the Mike had asked or had supplemented my answer.
Yeah.
The Medicaid waiver programs are programs that are eligible for those individuals who are 18 and over living with a disability. You need to go through the helpline to be assessed for those services. So the helpline number is in the materials that you received in your goodie bag. So, and I do want to say that there is a process, so it doesn't happen, automatically. And unfortunately, with some of these services, there are currently wait lists. But what we try to do to help you in the meantime is to connect you to other services in the community, other resources, these people in the room that are here today. So you're not completely left out, waiting for assistance. So the helpline folks, it's Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. It's the numbers that are on in your brochures. So did I answer that question?
Yeah, to that effect. A lot of the things like teacher and all that, the group classes and all that, are things that
The 60 and over. You know what? I will connect you to Abigail, one of our guest speakers, and she might be able to give you a little more thorough answer. Or Abigail, are you on the phone right here? If you could, T-Care, any of those powerful tools for caregivers, that is for 60 and over. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, with our funding, we only get funded for caregivers of older adults, so 60 and over, unfortunately, because I did have a case where we had someone who was just 18 and over, not at the age of 60, and we weren't able to take them in. I'm trying to remember now where I had to refer them. So if I can get back to that, I can send it in the chat where I referred them.
And is this because all these programs are funded under the Americans Act?
Pretty much.
No, these particular programs, T-Care, is funded generously by Florida Blue, as well as powerful tools for caregivers. These programs do not come from state and federal dollars. So in order for us to offer these programs to the community, we look for the grants, we look for the donations. So that is the guidelines under which the grant is given to us. So that helps answer, but you're correct. Most of the programs through the Medicaid waiver programs, our helpline, a lot of our general services connecting to Aging True and the senior centers, all of those are funded through the state and federal dollars that we receive to run Elder Source.
I can probably add to that to help a little bit. So I can probably add to that to help a little bit. So, you know, a question that comes up in our office is a lot is they'll call the helpline at Elder Source and they're either told they make too much money so they don't qualify for the benefits, or they're in a situation where they're too young or they think they might not be able to qualify for whatever reason. A lot of times an elder law attorney can help with that, an estate planning attorney. But then that's a lot of what we do at SilverLink is help figure out how to pay for care. So, you know, if you're in the military, there's VA benefits that don't have any age restrictions, you know, for surviving spouses and veterans. There's a lot of options out there. It just, it's really specific to each individual case. So that's why we try to sit down with families and go through all those details, because there's always something that shakes out that will be of benefit to pay for care.
I do have the answer to that now about where to go.
Abigail has the answer to where to go for some stuff.
Sir, Abigail does have some questions for you or answers for you. Hold on one second. Here you go, Abigail. We're connecting you again.
Okay.
Who has dementia struggles with getting out of the house to do
Abigail?
Okay, so this would be through DCF, so Department of Children and Families, and there is a program called Community Care for Disabled Adults. And you would just call DCF and let them know that you were interested in this program. And the only requirements is that they're 18 to 59 and they have a physical or mental disability.
He says he's on the waiting list for that, and the waiting list is very long.
Gotcha. Okay.
Another resource for you, somebody I just met last week from the ARC. So let's talk after as well. Does anybody else in the audience have a question that we can answer for you today? You've been extremely patient, and of course, everybody online, our speakers have been fantastic today. These events, as you can imagine, take a lot of detail and a lot of community coordination. So we appreciate all of the vendors that are here today. For those of you who are online, Rachel is going to give you, I guess, a little bit more information just to follow up to let you know how we're going to connect with you after this event. Is there any more questions that we have? Oh, okay. So sorry. Here we go. This is from Kim. The question is, my grandmother who has dementia struggles with getting out of the house to do things she likes to do, particularly because there's a language barrier. Are there Spanish speaking activities in the adult day programs? Good question. Do any of our
So this is Kari and Erica. When we do have Spanish speaking CNAs in our adult day program. And so we have successfully met challenges like that before. If they want to give Erica a call after this, they're welcome to, or make an appointment, they're welcome to. The phone number is 886-84.
288-7858.
one more time?
288, or it's 904, then 288-7858.
Thank you. I do, and I am aware of the councils on aging in St. Johns County, Flagler, Volusia. Their staff are also bilingual. So if you happen to need connections down in any of those other counties, please call our helpline. And our helpline would be able to connect you to any of those communities that might have the, be able to connect bilingual families to those particular services. I hear an answer. Is that you, Kim?
We're gonna have something from Kim.
I'm sorry, Kim, I was jiggling my phone around. Tell me again, please.
I was going to suggest that we dig into this topic of language a little bit further as it relates to care. Can I make a couple comments?
Sure. Kim has got some information and comments about connecting our caregivers with language barriers. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I was just going to say that, of course, it's ideal when a caregiver or a care team or some resource can speak fluently the native language of the person receiving care. However, I'd also like to offer that there's a whole lot of good that can be done with nonverbal communication and with providing care in a compassionate way that kind of transcends language a little bit. On our current set of families that we serve, we have a client who speaks only Korean, a number of Spanish-speaking clients. We have a native Hindi speaker and a native Portuguese speaker. We also have a completely deaf client who communicates through ASL. And it is not to say that all of our caregivers know all of those languages, but between just nonverbal communication and tools like whiteboards and Google Translate, we've just been very successful. So what I would say to family caregivers is don't let language be a barrier to getting the respite that you need and the care that, you know, a loved one needs. I just wanted to add that.
That's wonderful, Kim. Thank you. And any more questions from our friends here in the audience or online? I appreciate all of you. And I think, Jessica, this is going to conclude the portion of our online. And there's some information on screen.
Next slide.
Oh, next
The
slide.
helpline.
Yep, hold on, helpline.
There you go.
Here you go. There's our helpline. So I want to be able to connect everybody through the helpline. Initially, that is your portal for anything and everything to connect you to us and other resources in the community.
Thank you so much for everyone online. You have been so incredibly patient. Thank you, thank you, thank you to our speakers. We're going to conclude the online portion. I assure you, you'll get a nice, concise little email with the link to see this, this presentation recorded, as well as a couple of other resources if there are handouts or anything like that from our speakers. I'll be attaching those as well. You'll see it on our website. You'll see it on our social media page, some of it anyway. So thank you for those of you joining online. We're going to drop off the online portion because now for those who are staying live, we're going to have our raffle. Each of our vendors brought a door prize, and I'm going to draw some names from everyone who's been attending. Excuse me, everyone who's attended online, who's given, we've checked you off and put you in this bowl, and I will be choosing a lucky winner for each of our vendors' door prize. Just your name. Mm-hmm.
Yep. How many? Oh, thank you. Everybody who else is
Okay. We'll just, yeah.
Why don't you, if you don't mind, bringing them up here and we'll just answer that one at a time. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, thank you.